Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with a very special guest today, who is an OG of the fitness world, pioneer on YouTube, and the OG of Irish fitness in particular. It's the mayor of Marbella himself.
What an intro. Oh my
I
God.
came up with that last night. I was like, gotta call him the mayor of Marbella.
Man, you know, I think I made that up myself and it stuck.
Yeah.
Self-proclaimed mayor of
You got a
Marbella.
tattoo somewhere, mayor of Marbella.
Don't tempt me.
You bought yourself that little chain and it's sitting at home. So I want to start off with a throwback to the old days of YouTube. What was the hardest food challenge you ever did, and when are they making a comeback? When's the 30,000 calories coming back?
So me and Matt Does Fitness did a joint 30,000 calorie challenge, so technically 15.
Yep.
But I'm gonna redo the 20,000.
Yep.
Maybe I'll try for 25,000 just so I can put it in the title.
Yep.
But that's coming back this year, probably after I complete my high rocks. That's what I'm prepping for at the moment. So that's on March 22nd. I'll be quite lean at the time, and I'll do it after that. I'll be very depleted as well.
Yeah.
I'll need to do a refeed.
Yeah, refeed.
one hell of a refeed. But yeah, I'll bring that back this year. Most viewed video ever. It's been over 5 years since I've done one because it just writes me off for the week. And in order to do them, you have to be really lean, or you're just not hungry enough. Because your leptin, your ghrelin hormones, they're the hormones that dictate your satiety, your hunger. If you're not lean enough, you just won't be able to do it. So that's why it's been a few years.
The guys that I remembered from back in the day that were doing those, the only one I can remember that was in the fitness space was the guy Furious Pete. You ever see him? He was just hammering the fucking...
Yeah, and another one, Eric the Electric. He's still going. He's a cyclist, so he burns a lot of calories.
He still does those big calorie
He still
challenges.
does them. Yeah, he's killed it. I think his channel's on millions of subscribers now. But yeah, those two. But I think I was the best. I honestly, my appetite is crazy.
Yeah. Well, what were you eating in those challenges? Like the 20,000, what was it, pizza or what?
Yeah, so it would always rotate between sweet and savory.
Yeah.
Because your taste buds don't get used to it. Imagine you just finish a pizza and then you're you have to eat another pizza. You'd be fuck's sake.
Pizza, dessert.
Exactly, yeah. But when dessert comes, you're all right, let's go. So I think I had sweet for breakfast. It was loads of croissants and pastries. And then I got into a Five Guys or something.
Yeah.
Then it was a big cookie skillet or something, and then pizza, and just the usual suspects rotate.
Yeah.
But I'll do the Marbella one. I'll definitely do a Five Guys, the new one down the port.
It's actually pretty good.
I've gone once.
Yeah,
I've gone once.
Not bad.
It's insane.
So you're in the High Rocks in the Malaga High Rocks?
Yes, yeah. March 22nd, me and Marine. He'd be a good guest to have on this as well. He recently just bought a villa. Yeah, it's a fucking nice gaff. I don't know what quantifies a villa, what class it, but it's a
he
nice...
hasn't joined the club.
He hasn't joined the club. Is it a villa? But he bought a really nice place here in Marbella, so, he's cemented here now as well.
Oh, unreal.
And so the two of us are doing it together, doing the doubles one.
Have you done any simulations for it yet, or?
I've done a few classes, not the full simulation, but I think I should be all right. I'm not in it to win it, but I've been lifting all my life, and I can run a 5K handy. I just need to work on my endurance, longer distances, but I think I should be all right.
Yeah. Have you been doing anything different on your training for that?
Yeah,
or?
I've completely doing high rocks program.
Everything CrossFit style.
So that's the thing with CrossFit, you're doing a load of random exercises and they're very unsafe, hence all the injuries. You're doing Olympic lifting for 50 reps. It's ridiculous. That's crazy. So with the high rocks movements, it's always the same ones, and they're pretty easy to do. They're hard not to mess up. It's sled pulls, sled push, burpee, lunges, and then cardio machines that you physically can't mess up. The ski erg machine, you literally just pull it down. You can't mess that up. The treadmill.
They do have rules though for that. I don't know if you noticed, they have rules for the way you have to pull the ropes.
Yeah.
You can't cheat. There's a way to cheat it apparently.
Yeah, so you can let your weight drag it down a little bit. So that's how I do it. You kind of jump up and you do a little go up on your tippy toes, do a little jump and pull it down. And then you can only change. So you can change the resistance twice.
Yeah. Oh,
so
really? To make it easier?
Or to make it heavier and less strokes. So if you're a tank,
Yeah.
and you'll be there in like 10 reps.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can change it as well, but it's all supervised, and I don't think many people get injured in high rocks compared to CrossFit.
Yeah, I think the average time is like an hour and 30,
It is, yeah.
an hour and 30.
I think I've seen a lot of people post closer to an hour, but maybe they're like the people
really good. Yeah,
they're really good. Yeah.
I think like there's a guy called Hunter McIntyre. Have you seen him? He's
I
like
don't think so.
he's like you should check him out. He's like I think he holds the world record for the high rocks. And he gets like I think 55 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, something like that.
God.
That's like, but he's a beast. Like you got to check out his YouTube. He's like doesn't have that many followers, but he does the crazy Ironmans, the high rockses and whatever other challenge that you can do.
Yeah. That's really trending now in the fitness industry at the moment. Like Nick Bear is like probably the main hybrid athlete.
Yeah,
hybrid athlete. And that's it. And so he's killing it. And where it came from, I think like everyone has just been lifting weights for the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's hit their natty limit or their genetic potential, whatever you want to call it. And it's just like, you're not going to lose. If you've been lifting weights for 10 years and you you do a bit of running, you're not going to lose muscle. So it's just like a new thing, and it's a pretty natural progression for the fitness industry that has just been like lifting and getting the same results year after year.
It's so funny that the gym bros, like, in order to start running, they had to call it something different. It's like, I'm a hybrid athlete.
And we had to still have some sort of lifting in there.
Yeah. I'm hybrid. I do both.
But I don't think I'm going to lose any muscle. I'm doing a lot of like full body workouts. I'm still incorporating overhead press, trap bar deadlifts, a ton of barbell squats. And then like at the end of my workout, I'll tie in like some machines if I'm still feeling up for it. But I don't think I'm going to lose any muscle.
Yeah. I had signed up for which year was it? Was it 2023? I can't remember. 2023. There was one in Milan. I had signed up for it, and it was only like it was 2 months out. And bro, like I used to play rugby and did athletics to like a decent level, like provincial in Ireland. And so I was like, my fitness is good, but then as soon as I started like running the 5K, I was like, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
I seen you in that run club lagging at the back.
yeah. I was a sprinter, man. I was a sprinter. Like my long distance is terrible, but as soon as I like did the 5K, I was like, I need more than 2 months to do a high rocks, So I would like to do it though, get into it and see if I can actually post a time. But I spoke to a guy in the gym in Padel Club, and he was down in like the CrossFit area. And I was doing all like the lunges with the bag and, the ski erg and all. He just came up, he's like, training for high rocks? And I was like, yeah. I was like, have you done one? He's like, here's my bag. He had the bag covered in like 10, those patches, they have the patches complete. And he's like, yeah, I've done 10 of them. And he was just like, the number one exercise that I recommend you do is to load the bar, like squat bar with like 50, 60 kilo, rep it till you can't do another rep, and then run your 1K. He's like, because he's like, that's how your legs will feel like in the actual thing. Because after you do your wall balls, your sled push, sled pull, your frog jumps, or your burpees, your legs are like burned, and then you have to run. He was like, that's the only way to simulate the feeling. Obviously, you got to do the high rocks, but in terms of like just training on a day-to-day basis, he's like, burn your legs like crazy and then do your run.
Man, I'm not looking forward to like just that my legs giving out. Yeah. That is like, it's such a weird feeling. Your legs going underneath you, like your legs going out, and you're just like, you feel so helpless. But bring it on. Bring it on.
Anyone can do anything at that point.
Yeah.
I actually want to talk a bit about, because a lot of people in my audience are interested in social media, personal branding, all that stuff.
Yeah.
You got on YouTube. Basically, you were like a pioneer of like the platform. Like it's been around for a while, but obviously you were the first guy in Ireland to do that. You know, one of the original guys to really be pushing fitness content. What do you think the platform was like back then, whenever it was kind of not so popular to put out content versus like what you're seeing today? Are you seeing like any kind of similarities or differences between how the platform was and how hard it was to get traction? Or love to hear about that.
So back in the day, you could just show up with an iPhone like me, and as long as you were consistent, then you're all good to go. Nowadays, it's turned into a business. Like it's like people have staff. Like people have 3 editors, a short form editor, a videographer, studios. Like they build their own studios. Like it's become just it's become such a sought after profession. If you remember, they did that interview of kids in America, and they asked like pretty much every kid in America what they want to be when they grow up. Number one choice was YouTuber. So it's definitely gotten more like high tech, high quality, more sought after. And back in the day with me, you know, you just turn up, but the principles are still the same. You know, make quality content that provides value. That could be like anything from entertainment, motivation, inspiration, information, like just absolutely anything. And, you know, be consistent. That's the main thing. Like my first advice when someone is getting on YouTube is upload 100 videos and then look at the top 10 performing of those 100 and then recreate those 10 times again. So, but most people, what am I saying? Most people, 98% of people will never reach that 100 videos. Ever. Like not even close. You know, and there's another one, there's a statistic that if you want to be, this is a good one for you, that if you want to be in the top 20% of podcasts, I actually think it's the top 10%, all you have to do is get to 20 episodes.
So that much?
It's crazy.
I think I'm at like 10 already.
Bro, I've done like 40 or, you know, in the 30s or something. And I'm almost like, oh, you know, my podcast needs to be better. And then I get this like, you know, the way Spotify Wrapped did a Wrapped, I get like a Buzzsprout Wrapped, which is, you know, what Buzzsprout is. It's like analytics for your podcast. They're like, well done. You're in the top 5% global podcast.
Shit.
I'm like, what? Like with minimal effort, like, well, it's what I call minimal effort, but for other people, I guess that's maximum effort.
Every time I start to work with somebody like at the agency or whether it's like consulting or whatever, I always tell them, it's like, look, man, you're not really going to get that much traffic with short form unless you're posting 2 to 3 times a day. So with like the agency, okay, like they pay us to do most of the work and then it's more easy that way. But if someone's like doing it themselves, before they're like, you know, if they want to send me the money, I'm like, all right. But I always tell them before, like, look, man, like I'm going to want you to do 2 to 3 videos a day for the next like 3 months. It's like 100 videos, basically what you just said. Are you like literally ready, like mentally to do that? Like, or are you going to like tap out after a week? And a lot of people, like they do tap out. And as soon as they realize that's the amount of volume that it takes, they kind of scare away from it, you know, because you literally, you have to go through that quantity first before you can figure out what quality is. And I guess that would be my advice as well for short form is, post a shitload, and then whatever works, just triple down on that. You have to like, you kind of just have to go like a shotgun approach, and then eventually it's like a sniper, you know, you shotgun to find what works, and then you sniper in, and then you just hammer those until they stop working. There
is a formula. So like I was doing a module for I'm doing like just like a creator program like for YouTube and everything, but with like a more of a fitness focus on it as well. And so there is a formula that like if I want to get like 8 million views on YouTube, I'll do a calorie challenge. Ripped Guy does calorie challenge. And if you look, so I've done like 3 and they all have millions of views, like each and every one of them consistently. The thumbnail is so similar. The title is so similar. The content is the exact same. That's the formula. If I want to get 1 million views, I just do that. There's another one that I do a short form version of it. They all have
what I eat in a day.
No, but not only that. So they all have hundreds of thousands of views. Like if one of those doesn't get like 300,000 views, I'm like, oh, what the hell? And they convert so well for selling programs. I just I do a little tense at the beginning because that's the authority. Why would I even care what I eat if I'm just like out of shape and don't lift? Do a little 3-second flex, a little smile for the camera, and then show some banging meals, so some recipes, and then, you know, hey, if you need a program, just, you know, you
comment the thing,
exact comment thing in the bio, and that's the formula. And so some people, social media is a massive, it does have a massive luck component to it, but there is also formulas that, you know, you can just
there is, you know, we have a partner creator that, you know, we own part of their personal brand, and they're a swimming coach, right? So they teach like adults like how to swim. Like it's.
But before you go on, wait, how do you own part of someone's personal brand?
So essentially, you know, you can, if you have a creator that's like popping off really well, and they, you know, they're not really sure like what to do themselves. Like they don't know much about content, or if they do know much about content, they don't know how to like monetize it, the marketing side, or they just don't want to do it. You know, once we like work with somebody on like a normal client basis, and we see that there's like potential to like take it to the next level essentially and monetize it really well, where it would, you know, be interesting for us, interesting for the creator, then you know, over time, and with that particular guy, you know, we've been working together for 2.5 years now. So we worked together for like 6 months. He blew up to, I think within 6 months, just under 2 million followers total on socials, like across TikTok, IG, and everything. And he was just like, let's just drop the retainer and you guys just run all of like the marketing. Like we monetize it. You just take like the percentage of like the sales, and like, you know, things were going well. So we're like, all right. So then, and we've done that with like several other creators at this point. So all the amounts that we own are, some are revenue share, some are like basically equity. And so that's kind of how we do that with some of our clients. But with this guy in particular, he's a swim coach. So he teaches like adults.
I think I've seen him. Yeah.
So many people. My mom has seen him. It's like, his most viral video was 66 million views, 30 on IG, 30 on TikTok. 33. And we find his like winning formulas within like 90 days. And it was all to do with like drowning, how to float. And what was the other one? It was like, whenever he would do like a demonstration in the pool, for example, like he would take a flip flop and be like, you know, this flip flop doesn't know if it's floating in like 30 centimeters of water or like 100 meters of water. It's still going to float. And he's like, it doesn't matter if you're in deep water or shallow water, like it's floating's the same, right? And so we figured out these formulas, and every time we have like a bad week of only like, you know, a few 100,000 views, then we're like, do a flip flop video.
Maybe I should be doing pool videos. I've got a pool. Maybe I need to be utilizing that thing.
But the lesson is like you put out enough volume where you find the formats that work, you find the topics that people respond to the most, and then you figure out what to do on the camera in that first few seconds that captures the attention. And it's almost always like, if there's a lot of movement, and this is for short form content specifically, if there's a lot of like movement in the first 5 seconds, that is just exponentially more likely to like to blow up. Like if you were doing a video about, you know, getting jacked with your arms, or like you would do the curls, or, you know, you would do the movement in the first 5 seconds.
Yes.
Whereas if someone was just sitting talking to the camera like, here's how to get big biceps, it might do well, but it's not going to do as well as if there's like that movement on screen. And when you push that amount of volume, you figure out those things, right? You start to notice like the commonalities across everything. And then that's how you actually, you know, find the formats. Like people just want to, how do I go viral? It's like, post a lot of videos, like doing like, you know, the fundamentals, and like some will flop, some will do really well. Yeah. And then the ones that do really well, you just see like what happened across all of those that was like similar, like the verbal hook, the edit, what you're doing on screen, the pacing of the video, the idea in general. The idea is the most important part.
What do you mean by pacing? I always hear that a lot. I'm
like, are you putting a lot of fluff in? Are you like, you're like going off topic to another tangent, you know?
I hate watching that. Like, so the best like advice I've heard in terms of like, let me say a 30-second reel, you're like, you've 30 seconds. You make each second count. Yeah. You know, there's no room for error. Yeah. But long form, okay, cool. Yeah, if it's a 20-minute video. But like if your real estate is 30 or 60 seconds at most, you got to make every single word
It's
count.
4 sentences.
Yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. No, it's literally 4 sentences. We had a client once, and she was like, she was doing crazy numbers, like at least, I think it was like 12 million a year, like teaching people how to have like a best-selling book, like become like a best-selling author. And she wasn't like into like the content, like she was crushing it on ads, but like wasn't into the content world. And it took her like a few weeks to like get comfortable on the camera and everything. And then eventually she was like, oh, I figured it out. It's just 4 sentences. And I was like, that's true. It is like, it's like 4 sentences that you get to say, like roughly that like fits your 30 to 60 second spread. Yeah. It's like 4 or 5 sentences, and then that's it pretty much.
That's even good for remembering things. Like, you know, for if you're scripting video, you just have to remember 4 sentences. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. We have one client at the minute, and he's like one of these guys that's like, he's got such a good mind that it's like too good for short form. Like you need to like really reel him in and like keep him on track. And if we don't give him like the absolute like strictest like word by word, he will just go off for like, you know, for ages and ages and ages. So, you know, short form versus like long form, it's a totally different world in terms of, you know, recording the content and planning it and everything. Like you said, YouTube, you can talk a bit longer, you can fluff it up a bit. You know, short form, it's like it's very tight, and if you don't have like that first 5 to 15 seconds like dialed in, it's just not gonna work. Yeah. So since you were the OG of Irish YouTube.
Yeah, literally the first person.
Literally the first
No one
person.
else showed up to the race. It's not that I'm that great. Just no one else was willing to do it.
That's how you win, man.
Yeah,
Blue
true.
Ocean. Where do you see, if any, do you see any opportunities currently for personal brands? So you were the first mover on that space. Do you see any like current opportunities for maybe people specifically in the fitness industry? How can new creators in the fitness space like stand out? And actually, it's a crowded space at the minute.
Yeah.
What do you think is like the formula for like a new creator in the fitness world to actually stand out?
Yeah, it's gone super crowded, especially recently. And like, so how do I word this? The correct information is the correct information. So if 100 people are giving the correct information, that they're all going to give the same answer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
how do you can't just say your opinion on like macros, or you can't say your opinion on how much like hours sleep you should get a night. Like these are just facts. These are scientific facts. So everyone's giving the same information as they should.
Yeah.
So now it's about, I think, showing your lifestyle a bit, showing your personal brand, more important than ever. Because everyone knows all the information at this stage. Like we're all sick of hearing about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight.
Yeah.
Train every muscle group twice per week. Get 8 hours sleep. Apply progressive overload. Like we've all heard that. So now it's about, showing yourself, applying that yourself. So it's important to walk the walk, and it's important to live a good life that people will look up to and respect.
Yeah.
So that's something that I've always been doing, but there's a lot of personal trainers and they will just do informative stuff, which is great and all that, but people want to see a bit more of your personality and things.
Yeah, more entertaining.
Yeah, exactly. So at this stage, I think we've kind of gone a little bit full circle, that like the importance of showing you applying the information is more important. Hence why when I do the physique update at the start, people listen.
Yeah.
Because like imagine I just had 0 gains.
Yeah.
People feel like I don't care. You know. So people want to hear information, of course, but they want to see you apply it as well.
Yeah. There's a few creators that, I mean, everybody knows Sam Sulik at this point,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
like,
yeah.
I think he
applies it for sure.
He fucking applies it.
See, that's why people love him, because he is so dedicated. He doesn't party. He doesn't have a flash car, although he could probably buy a Lambo every single month.
Yeah.
He doesn't, and he's just about that life.
Yeah.
He loves bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And he applies it.
I think it's funny you said like full circle. Like he really did go full circle in terms of the type of content that he put out, because people, like, the content for a long time was going towards flashy, Mr. Beast, like over the top, heavily edited, on short form and long form side. And then he came in, he just was like, I'm just going to record myself doing tricep push downs and like talking into the, just like a 30-minute video of him driving to the gym, doing a workout, then driving home, going to the grocery store, and just talking the whole time. Like, and I think that's really important, is that you have to, it's not like you need to be better or say something that other people aren't necessarily saying. It's just you got to do the thing differently.
Yeah.
Like just find a way to do it different. Like
what helped me massively was literally being from Ireland.
Yeah.
And just going to Aldi.
Yeah.
Going to Aldi and going to Raw. Everyone's like, oh, like I haven't seen this, because Irish people, I'm not sure what your audience listening, if it's mainly Irish people.
Irish and American, yeah.
Irish American, but like Irish people, it'd love to talk shit. Like it's a very begrudging nation.
Yeah, let's slag you off.
That's why I was the first, because and I got slagged off so much at the beginning. Because no one else wanted to get slagged off pretty much. Yeah. But I just had no other option. I had like 300 quid in my bank account. I was working in like Hollister, a watch shop. Then I was working like a 9 to 5 for a while, that I absolutely just can't do those hours. Yeah. I don't care if I'm doing something I like to do. Just being at a desk 9 to 5, I can't do. So I had no choice. I was like, if people want to make fun of me, they can take time out of their day to make fun of me. That's cool with me. I'm not taking my time out of my day to give a shit. I'm just doing my thing. So I had no choice.
How do you like build that mindset? Did you just have it from the beginning, or did you have to like work up to that point?
I had no choice. Yeah. Literally, it's just like someone would like leave a comment, be like, this is the cringiest shit ever. Who does Billy Big Biceps think he is, recording himself in the gym? And I was like, oh man, I don't like to read that, but I ain't got nothing else to do.
It worked out.
Exactly. Yeah, burn the boats, quit my job, dropped out of college. I would literally just be like sitting at home playing Xbox for the rest of eternity. If I didn't, take that leap, because I was like, all I had was my personal trainer qualification, and all I had was like a knowledge on fitness, and all I had was like a passion for fitness as well. So I was like, this is literally the only thing I could do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I hate to say it, like people always, say that Ireland's such like a nice place and like everyone's very polite, and we kind of are, and like we make friends with everybody quite easily, but it is, and I think like Ireland and the UK in general is like, it is a very pessimistic place. Yeah. Where like people like to, like, if someone is getting ahead of them, they like to just shove them down and like make fun of them, because I think it makes them feel uncomfortable. Whereas like in America, it's the total opposite. Like you could do like the smallest thing and they're like, good for you, let's go, American dream, all that stuff. And I used to live there and I really noticed that was the difference.
Massive. Like, I'll tell you the science behind it. Well, this is the Rob science anyways.
Got the bro science coming.
Okay, this is it. And it's because Ireland, particularly Dublin or any city outside of Dublin, if they even exist. I joke. Galway's actually, I'm going to Galway next month. It's actually like the best city. But so these are very small towns. Yeah. They're extremely small. And so when somebody sees someone from their town or someone from their road that they grew up in, someone from their school doing something great and living a fantastic life, they're like, I could have done that. Yeah. He is the same as me. He grew up on the same street as me. I could have fucking done that. Yeah. Shit. And then they have this resentful feeling and anger. So they're just like, oh, I'm going to talk shit. And same in like the UK, UK is like very similar to Ireland. Just a load of little small towns apart from London, Yeah. And then when you go to America, especially New York or California, it is too big. It's too big for people to even take notice of you. There's no like, I know Jimmy from the same street in New York. Like there's a fucking 100,000 people on one street in New York. It's just too big to care. So it's just a small town mentality pretty much. And when people see someone that they grew up with, they're like, he is just the exact same as me. He had like the exact same circumstances as me. I could have done this,
Yeah, I think also... It's also like a very selfish attitude to think people care about you that much. You know, like, oh, everyone's watching me. Like that is kind of a, I don't even know what the word to describe it is, but someone is thinking that everyone's thinking about them all the time. But no one is like, no one's thinking about you that much, like,
and that's a good thing. It's a comforting thing.
It's very comforting because you could just be posting and basically nobody knows that you're doing it. And like, that's what I liked. In fact, it was actually a big mental edge for me. Back in the day, when I was first pushing short form content, I got a good amount of followers relatively quick within about 3-4 months. Like I went viral a few times. This is when like, back in 2022 when short form was kind of like, kind of coming into its own. And I got like 150K within, I don't know, 3 months or something like that. But it was like all America because I had figured out how to like get the videos placed in America. So that was like a mental edge for me.
That's
so,
good.
Like, it was
America is the best.
That's where you want it.
But like, my main demographics are America and then Ireland, then UK.
But for me, it was like a mental edge. It was like, oh, I live in Europe. Like I won't meet anyone who's seen my content. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Like, so I was like, I felt like I could walk down the street and no one from back home was going to see it. Now I don't have that problem. I don't give a shit. But back then I was like, I had that in my mind. I was like, nah, people going to see it. I was like, no, everyone's in America. I've only been recognized like 3 times in 3 years or something like that, 4 years, and 2 of the times was at your masterminds, like some Irish guys, and then one other time I was randomly in Turkey and some guy was like, are you that guy? I'm like,
no way. So.
But then like, and that's it, like just because I put the videos in America, like, and I'm not saying if I went to America, I'd get bloody, I'm not, I don't think like that, but that was like a mental edge for me that like no one from my town is going to see this.
Yeah. When I started, I go into my analytics, like this is the very, very start, 100% Irish, like 100, like the number 100. It was just all Ireland. So it was crazy, but hey, it worked as well because people related to it. You know, so
I had a friend, or I should say I have a friend. I don't know why I said
what did he do to you?
I don't know why I said it like that. I have a friend. I won't name him now, but he lives in the US and he went like super viral like in the past year, like blew up like massive, just doing like kind of funny, entertaining videos. Yeah. And he was like, I can't go out without feeling like someone's looking at me. Yeah. Like, and I was like, that is great, because he was properly going big time viral. Like
for what type of videos?
Like entertaining, like kind of funny skits, like mass market kind of stuff. I right?
Get you, yeah. What do they sell? Like, well, let's say you do those big skit things. Nothing. I'm like, what do you sell? I just see them doing brand deals,
exactly,
which is not ideal. It's great. I love brand deals. I'll go into brand deals now. Yeah. But like, what like can you sell? You can't sell a fitness program. You can't sell like a business program.
I've said for years, all these big TikTokers are so broke. They're so broke. But you think they're rich, right? Because they end up getting a talent agency, and then that agency might give them a villa to live in or rent a Lambo or something. And you're like, oh, damn, this TikToker's rich. But really, they're not making any money.
Yeah.
Because the audience they built is purely like kids wanting to see them dance or do a funny skit or whatever it is. They never built like a real audience. So the only route for those guys is to go into like the D2C market. Like Logan Paul did with Prime, like all the celebrities, like
Lunchables.
Yeah, like
making Lunchables for actual babies.
Oh god,
like,
have you ever seen the ingredients of this? It's like
man,
poison.
It's just fucking ironic.
It's poison,
crazy.
But those kind of creators, that's essentially their only route. Like if you make people laugh, like only laugh, like that's not like really a monetizable, unless you're like a stand-up comedian, right? Then, but most TikTokers are not funny in real life. They're funny inside their little TikTok bubble. And I see this so much, like they start to try to make a transition over to stand-up, and fair play to them, by the way, like not hating on it. Put enough time into anything, you'll get good. But then you see immediately that they're not as funny. When they're put in front of a real comedian, they can't banter with the comedian.
Yeah.
Like you think, oh, he's a funny TikTok guy, but they can't translate that to like a stand-up area. But the only option they have for monetization is like D2C products, like starting like a merch line, starting like a drink or some food thing or whatever it is. That's really the only thing you can do. There was one other creator, and he did, kind of like the smartest thing if you want to sell like info or coaching, high ticket products, things like that. He was doing skits, like some American guy. I can't even remember what his username is. But he was doing like Italian American kind of skits, like, oh, you're Italian American dad when he falls asleep on the couch or whatever. Then he just started like a fresh account, started talking about being a creator and monetizing as a creator. And then he would do like a collab post between the big account and his small one.
That's good.
And then he would build a separate audience surrounding like this more and it was all like boring educational stuff. But you have to do that. You have to like start bringing the people from your audience over to this more boring side, because the boring is like what monetizes. You can have like 10,000 views in a video, and there could be like a couple people there that will pay you like big money, right?
Yeah, when I break out the whiteboard, to get how much views, but people are like, oh, nice. This
That's the stuff that works.
I think fitness truly is the most profitable or the most scalable genre. Like you can do masterminds, retreats, apps, PDF, ebooks. You can do a physical book. You can start a YouTube channel. You can sign with a gymwear brand. You can sign with a supplement brand. You can start your own pancake company. You can start your own gymwear brand. You start your own supplement brand. You can collab, like you do workouts with other creators, with other fitness creators. Like you can actually physically train people if you want. You can do high ticket. Like I don't know how many I just named there, but there's so many different ways to make money from being a fitness creator or just being in the fitness industry.
What do you think is the best way for a new fitness creator to like make a successful first product? Because you got a lot of products. Like, is there any formula for actually making a solid product?
100. Okay. It's the one thing that everyone messes up. Audience first, product service after. Don't be, people enter the industry, they're already begging with their hand out. Begging. Like, actually, like, think about it. Like, they're offering coaching. It's like, nobody asked, bro. Nobody wants it. Like, show your value first. Show what you're like. Show that you've put in the work in the gym. Coach people for free to begin with. That's what I've done. Get some reviews. Get some testimonials. Don't show up to the race just with your hands out begging for clients. It just doesn't look good, and you don't actually deserve it. So first, build the audience first. And then it needs to get to the point where your audience are asking you. They're like, so I built up an audience on Facebook at first, actually, showing my age.
The OG.
The OG. Facebook and YouTube. Instagram wasn't even invented. But so I built an audience on Facebook and YouTube first, and people were like DMing me or FB messaging me, whatever it was, like, hey, can you make me a program? And I was always like, yeah. And I'd do it for free. And you could write out these like, I'd write out these massive like 6-week programs in the DM. I'd send it to them and they'd get like killer results. I'm still working 9 to 5 at this stage. They'd come back and they'd say, oh my God, I love the program so much. And then people started messaging me saying, how much do you charge for a program? So people were asking for coaching before I even offered coaching. And that's the position that you want to get yourself in. Have people like jumping on waiting lists. That's what you need to do. So everyone has it backwards. And so for me, when I was making fuel cakes, for example, my first ever viral video was how to make protein pancakes. So I was the protein pancake guy.
Yeah.
People would always associate it with my channel, and they would all like, it's something that I always consistently make, and it was my most viewed video. And then I was speaking to Christian and Max, and of course I'm signed with like Ghost and Alfleet, so they're fucking big contracts. I'm like, I don't want to jeopardize that. And so I was like, what can I make that, one, my audience like, two, it's not going to step on any feet in terms of the current contracts, and three is something different, because everyone just starts gym wear and supplements. That's like the two first line defense, or first places that you go to. So I was like, what's something different? And I launched that and just sold out straight away on the first launch. So I asked Christian Max, like, what's something I could make? Christian always had a white Monster, so he made 3D energy drinks in his videos. Max was always eating Sour Patch Kids, so he made Sour Strips. I was always eating pancakes, so made fuel cakes. Unreal. So the answer is always staring at you in the face, and people need to be asking for it. Yeah,
I get that question a lot. Like, if someone like wants to work with us and they don't have like, they want an ROI from social media like immediately, like, I need to build my product first and then I can invest in it's like, you got it backwards, because you're going to spend like 3 months, 4 months building the product. You're going to go to your non-existing or tiny audience on Instagram or whatever, and you're going to post it there and no one's going to buy it. Because it's literally just like you said, you have to build the audience first, see what they actually want to buy, and then build the product around that as well. That is by far the best route.
That's why as well it's so important to make those 100 videos first, or even like 100 reels. Most people still won't even get there anyways. And then you look at the top 10, and then like, that's your niche. That's the product that you can make. So audience first, always.
100%. And something you said there is really interesting, because and it's interesting to talk to like guys that have been like in the space for a long time, because, and I don't know if you ever even like studied like marketing or studied, copywriting or things like that, like these kind of the sciences of, business or whatever. But one thing you said there is like, one of the cardinal rules of when you're building a business in a saturated niche or like a competitive environment, the only thing you need to do, even if your product is like the same as like what's out there, just make it seem different. Just like, people think I need to make it better. It's like, you can't compete on better, but you can compete on different, right? And when you look in the info marketing space, for example, how many times have we seen someone trying to sell like an SMMA course or an e-com course, and that's been going for years, right? But every few months, someone comes up with a new way to call it something new, position it as something new, right? And something different as everything else that's come before. But when you dig into it, it's like, oh, they're just like running an agency, but now they're calling it a growth operator or something like that. You know what I mean? Now they're doing drop shipping, but now it's high ticket drop shipping. It's something different. So you just have to, if you want to get a product out there in a like, people have done protein shakes, protein whatever,
protein everything.
Not many people are doing protein pancakes. So like, it's just different, and that's how you immediately stand out from
and even like change the packaging, change the branding, change the marketing. And like, another example is Sour Strips that Max just sold for tens and tens and tens of millions. I won't go into, I know the figure. I don't want to spill the beans though, but that's not a new product. It's just sour candy. Just different branding.
I saw him.
And he'll say that himself, it's obviously it's not a new product.
I saw him post that on Twitter. It was like a couple months ago, maybe a few weeks ago. He just
a few weeks ago.
Insane.
Crazy.
I never even thought like a candy company would be,
Dude's retired now.
But he's young though, right?
So he'd be about, I think he's 2 years older than me, so he's like 35, 36.
Okay, that's pretty young still.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my God.
I know.
I'll be there soon, man.
Exactly. I'm gonna sell fuel cakes or something, but I don't want
to. So I think like out of a lot of people I know, I think you might have one of the best lifestyles.
I agree.
Like, no joke. You agree?
I fully agree.
I'm so glad.
Me, Mike, and Louis had a chat about this. We think we've like struck a fine balance between like work and travel and what we do for a living. And everything.
What do you think that balance is, and how do you think like someone can achieve that? Like, what's your philosophy on that?
Okay, so my typical day in my life, first of all. Okay, so you want to imagine what your ideal day looks like within reason. You can't be like, wake up, win the lotto, fuck 20 bitches. You got to be real, okay? But do also dream big. So, and then reverse engineer it. So think of how do I get there? Okay, and let's do 1 hour at a time. So my ideal day, I'll just say it anyways. So I like wake up in the morning, just naturally, no alarm. Usually about 6 or 7, I'll go straight into work. I'll just caffeinate, hydrate, and I'll do just laptop work, phone work. I go on my phone straight away, by the way.
Yeah,
replies.
me too.
I've tried the no phone in the morning. I'm like, this is giving me way more anxiety. Yeah. I need to get on this shit and get it done. So I'll do like laptop, phone until about like 10:30, 11. Then I'll slowly get ready for the gym, start mixing up some pre-workouts, put on a nice fresh gym set, train my ass off in one of my 5 gym memberships. Yeah. So choose whichever one I'm feeling that day. Train really hard, 11 to 12. Then between like 12 to 12:30 or 12 and 1, I'll actually get content, gym content. So I'll do my workout and then record after. So like,
that's how you do it.
Yeah, exactly. Just because if you're constantly like moving a camera around, like it can obstruct your workout a little bit, especially on days when you just want to go in and zone out.
Yeah.
And then so 1 o'clock usually I'll get a nice big meal into me, big healthy nutritious meal. It's like my main meal of the day as well. It's like my largest meal. And get out in nature, walk, swim, hike, whatever. Just get outside. Then usually between like 3 to 6, I'll do like easy tasks, like just chores, just knocks a few easy emails, but all my creative work is done in the morning. Stuff like this, recording, stuff that I need to think for, negotiating, just calls, emails, like just things I need to be switched on for. Then I'll do the easy shit in the evening. And then I'll post on everything at about 6 p.m. and then that's me like clocked off, I'll relax for the evening. So that's my perfect day, especially like if I can go to the gym in a really nice gym, eat a healthy meal and swim in the sea. I am happy. Yeah. Like that is all I want. So you need to piece together your perfect day and say, how can I slowly get here? What job do I need to have? What hours do I need to work and when? And you piece it together and then reverse it and engineer it. And you're not going to have it straight away. Like maybe you'll get half the day looking the way you want it first, and then you'll get the other half eventually. But yeah, you got to just piece it together.
I think also the way you've got your business set up with the subscription as well, like that's a very passive, way to do it.
Super passive. Yeah.
And so that plays in so nicely to like the lifestyle business where you're not always like hunting for like a deal or whatever. It's like you have your app, you do what you got to do on the app. Everyone's happy with it. And it's just subscription really.
Exactly. That, and also like with my contracts, like with Ghost and Alfleet, they don't even ask me to post them at all. I just do because I use them virtually every day. I wear Alfleet every day. I use Ghost every day going to the gym. So it's just part of my lifestyle. And then, nice big paycheck every month. And so I feel everything I do is passive. And even like with the app, bi-weekly call, love doing that. Like always get hyped up. I have my whole kind of like developer team do the customer service. If I need to make and put in a new workout, just email to them. They add it in. Like I've gotten to the point now, obviously I didn't just start like this, but I've gotten to the point where I can't just like outsource everything and give everyone like a percentage and like have a really lean operation. The only thing I need to do that like I can't outsource and I don't want to either is recording content. Just no one else can be me. And so my best business advice is this for more like advanced people in business who've gotten to the stage where they can do this. Remove yourself as much as possible and only do the things you can do. People can do your emails. Yeah. You just like signed Rob Lipsett, or like the only thing I can actually think of that no one else can do is calls. Maybe AI will get there one day. Is like calls, video calls, and record content. So that's like the main work I do, which I really like.
So would you say your kind of philosophy is, would you say you're more inclined to optimize for lifestyle rather than optimize for extreme profit or extreme income, or what do you think?
Oh, bro. For me anyways, definitely lifestyle. And me, Christian, Guzman, and Mariah had a chat about this. Like the two of them like were admittedly like stressed to the point where they had like burnouts, like big burnouts like they talked about on YouTube. I've never been burnt out in my fucking life. Not even close. I've never been like, guys, I'm taking a week off social media. I'm like, hey, what's up, everybody? Never. Never. And so as a result, like my work rate over the long term is better. Well, not better. Like, I'm not saying better than those guys. I mean better from in my case, me individually, because I don't get burnt out and I don't need to take a break. Am I leaving money on the table? For sure. But will that money make me happier or more miserable? Probably be more miserable if I took away from my day-to-day life.
Yeah, I think, and when you look at like your lifestyle, like you have pretty much everything you'd want to have. You got a nice house, you got a nice car, you got a few bits and pieces that are nice, you know, like you live in a fucking great place. Like, you know, anything else on top of that is just, it's just extra.
Exactly.
You know?
Like and that's the one thing I was thinking about. I'm like, I need to motivate myself. Like sometimes I'm like, I feel I'm retired, you know. But of course, like now one thing that I'm thinking about a lot is like, I've got a kid on the way, so I want to send them to like the best school, but that's fucking cheaper than renovating the house. You know what I mean? Like if I'd done that, I can do this. But yeah, I want to, you know, give her the best life possible. I'll probably get a new car this year. Nothing crazy.
Minivan?
Yeah, bro. Yes, it has to be a 4-door. Like, so I'm looking at a Porsche Cayenne. I think they're pretty happy medium.
They're nice. They reliability issues, depending on the year you get. They're supposed to be like, I have a friend, shout out Ben, lives in Gibraltar. He has a Cayenne. He's just like, reliability is
no way, because so I've been like talking to a lot of dealerships, and the worst car
Range?
that I was going to get,
Range.
See how you guess that. Everyone says it just breaks down.
But the funny thing is, the new Ranges break. The older ones, I think older than 2012, are like workhorses.
Apparently Land Rovers are good.
Like
which is funny because they're the Defenders. Is what I'm saying. It's funny because they're the same. But so going back to like in terms of like having everything I wanted, everything after this is just a bonus. Ooh, better car. I don't fucking care. It's just a shape of metal. Like, so I have a lot of friends here who have like supercar concierge companies. Like, you've probably seen me driving around and like
the Porsches and all.
The Porsches, Ferraris, the GT3, Aston Martin. Like,
I need that plug, by the way.
Yeah, man.
I need code Lipsett on those Porsches.
It's a great plug. Coming soon. One thing I will be doing is setting up a concierge company in Marbella. Have to, because I'm renting out my villa this summer. When if anyone wants it, May, June, July, because it's going to be popping out baby Lipsett in Ireland. Got to get that Irish passport. So to leave a villa empty in Marbella over the summer is a criminal. We've rented out before as well, secretly, and it's been really good. Like, lovely injection of cash, and we weren't there anyways. So I'd more to come on that. Concierge, Lipsett concierge. But to go back to the car thing, I love good cars. Like, who, as a man, who doesn't love a good supercar? But when you're in them and it's just like a shape of metal and it's a nice car, you're like, what's the difference if the metal's shaped slightly different? You know, they all go fast. You can only go so fast on the motorway before you get arrested. You know, so it's all these things like, oh, my watch is shaped differently. You know, I wear a Whoop. It's just shapes. It's all just shapes.
It is.
Oh, there's a different lettering written on my t-shirt. It's like literally just a different drawing, different cave drawing.
It's people falling for like the marketing psychology of these brands. And when people are so obsessed, especially like the really young guys that start to make money online, social media, whatever, they get really obsessed quick with what other people have and what other people say is the definition of success. Like, you know, I always wanted like nice watches because I seen people have them and like they were like, you know, you've made it when you have a Rolex, and then you have it and you're hyped for like 2 months, and then after it's like when you were a kid and you get like a new BMX and you want to like look after it and you don't want to scratch it, and then 3 weeks later you're throwing it in the grass outside your friend's house. Like, you don't care, you know. Like you're not cuddling it anymore. What's the word? Coddling it.
One thing I haven't gotten used to, and it was the best purchase in my life, was the Marbella villa. I wake up in that every day, and I've had it like, I guess a few years now. I know I've always been like renovating it and stuff. It's fully renovated now, and I've not gotten used to it. Like, I'm still just, I say, thank you, God. Like, thank you, God, for just this amazing house. And like, I never even want to, it's not the biggest house, but I never even want to sell
fantastic.
It. It's great. Brilliant. I love it. And so I'm like, that is one thing that I haven't got used to. I think in terms of all the flashy things, like the car, the watch, I think real estate is a different kettle of fish, because it's like it determines your day-to-day life of the house you live in, and not to mention it's like the best, it's the most renowned asset, like real estate, you know, it's classic. It's always going up. You can rent it out, you have your family over. That's the one thing, that's the flashiest thing I have, but I don't even think about it as like materialistic, because it's like genuinely like,
it's an asset.
It's an actual asset.
Yeah,
like,
it's
people are like, my watch goes up. No, it doesn't really.
They go down like this one.
Yeah, when you compare a brand new Rolex to one that's like 5 years old, like
they're basically the same.
Exactly,
yeah, like watches for investments. It's cope. It's honestly cope.
I know they're decent, like, but
it's an excuse to spend 20 grand.
Exactly.
Like I bought this
super nice, by the way.
3 years ago at the peak of its value. It was like I bought it for $16,000, and now it's worth like 12.
Yeah. It's not bad.
I would say I've got $4,000 of use out of it.
You've probably definitely had some conversations that have generated $4,000.
Literally.
That's one thing with the car. A car is one thing with the supercars, I will say, is it does open a network. People, when I'm have one of these cars for a weekend or something, and I'm going into the gym or something, people start a conversation for you. And I was like, whoa, I've never experienced that before. It's very interesting. Chicks as well. Also try fucking hop in. And I'm like, they're like, hey, where are you going? And all this. And I'm like, whoa.
Back home.
Back home to my wife and kids.
You're a few years too late.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You weren't with me grinding in the gym.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What is it? Shooting in the gym or whatever.
Shooting hoops in the gym.
No, like I totally get that. And I still, I do want to get like a nice Porsche, in time, but I do think that choosing the thing, and there are some people that, the way you feel about your villa, they feel that way about cars, they get in that convertible, Lambo, and they feel that feeling. But
I'm just giving my take on it, but I'm happy
for sure,
to be proven wrong.
But your take is more authentic because you're doing what you actually enjoy. It's not like you got a villa because someone else had one and you're like, like I need it to be somebody, like you got it from an authentic place.
For sure.
Like that's what you wanted.
I love that thing, and like I love Marbella so much as well. You mentioned it like super briefly at the beginning. My mastermind, the business event. It'd be great to have you speak at that as well.
I'd love to.
And
I'll hold you to it.
So due same date as last year. Look at that sparkling water. Same date as last year, June 6, 7, and 8. And the same recipe really. Bunch of killers. Rent out a place to give talks.
Same location, or what are you thinking?
We are actually that crazy villa that I stayed in recently. Villa Gratitude.
Gratitude.
We're looking at having it there,
bro.
That could be
tickets 3 times more expensive.
I know, to cover the rent. But yeah, so details yet to come. But it's always just such a good weekend. And so I want to make Marbella, because I love Marbella so much, I want to make it into like a business productive destination, almost like Dubai, just a lot nicer,
a lot better.
100%. I just back from Dubai last week.
Great place. We love Dubai.
I actually do.
Don't cancel our visas.
They will do that.
Yeah, they will.
They can do that. I do love it. I'm a resident there, and I have to enter at least every 6 months to keep my visa active. I do really like it. Just after a couple of weeks, I feel just a bit cabin fever. Yeah,
100%. 100%. But, the thing you've done with the masterminds is fantastic. And this actually ties into something that I wanted to talk about as well. When we first kind of met and started get to know each other, one of the first times I seen you in fact, it was the first time I seen you in person, was at the first event 2-3 years ago, whatever it was. And you were on stage and I was like, this guy has aura. He has charisma, can talk, commands the room, and when I seen you get on stage, in between the other speakers, you could feel the energy go down with one speaker, and then you came back on and it was up again. You re-engaged everybody.
Yeah.
How can someone build that? How can someone build that charisma, command a room, have this aura that people talk about? Do you have a formula, or is it just natural raw energy?
For sure. So thank you as well.
You're welcome.
But no, a lot of times when I'm doing talks, people will say that I just did a TEDx talk in Prague a month or two ago, and they're like, let's put Rob on second last to wake everyone up after lunch. And I think it's I think it mainly comes at, okay, so first of all, aura, you got to have something to have an aura about. fucking love my life. Like I really do. And I think that radiates from me. I think people are like, this guy's having a good time. He's happy to be anywhere. And I always treat everyone with the same enthusiasm. If it's a random crowd that I don't know, if it's just a podcast with a friend, a podcast with a guy I just met, a room full of people who paid to come see me, does not matter. I'll treat everyone with the same amount of enthusiasm. And it actually comes, the energy, everything, it comes from a place of shame and embarrassment. How fucking embarrassing would it be if I hopped on this podcast or hopped on stage and was a moody prick? It would be so... I would step out of my body and punch myself in the face and step back in. I'd be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You fucking loser.
Yep.
Yeah, and like when I see people and they're just like, no, they're in a public situation, they're not happy to be there, they're just being moody pricks.
Yeah.
I'm like, the state of that, the actual state of that.
Yep.
So I'm like, I never want to be that person. So it comes from a place of like, how dare I not bring the energy. And so that's what I always think. I'd be so ashamed of myself if I hopped up on stage and was just like lazy.
And can you translate that and how can like a beginner start to, like, obviously they need the mindset like I have to bring the energy, but maybe someone has anxiety or like they're camera shy, for example, for content, like is there any way to build it, or is it just do the 100 videos?
Definitely. So just get the reps in, you know. And my first talks on stage, like, oh my god, I'll send you one of them. It was actually, she's like the biggest like makeup entrepreneur in Ireland, Suzanne Jackson. Do you know her? She's huge.
Not my niche.
Yeah, I didn't think it was mine either, but she was like she puts on like makeup seminars or something. She's like, hey Rob, will you come on and give us a fitness talk? This is when I was like 20.
She just wanted you to take the top off?
Yeah, but I was like, this is a Magic Mike type of ordeal. So I got up on stage anyways. There's a video off on YouTube. It must be literally 10 years ago. And yeah, I sucked. You know, I sucked. I was like messing up my words, forgetting everything. And I was talking to like a crowd of makeup artists who probably didn't really care, but you just got to put the reps in. So that's the first thing. And then in terms of like having energy, it's all about perspective. So I go deep. I think of all like the shit going on in the world. I think of all the dark shit, like the wars going on in the world, people getting their legs blown off, like people getting like kids sick in hospital with like terminal illness. It's from that Greg Plitt quote that I absolutely love. He's like, going to the cancer wing of the hospital and tell someone in there that, oh, I can't make it to the gym. They would give anything to be able to go. They'd give anything to be able to be up on stage. So I just apply that perspective and I'm just like, I'm fucking happy to be here. Yeah,
that's a phenomenal lesson in life, gratitude in
that's
general.
The biggest lesson I can give anyone.
Like, most people don't have problems. Like when you really do think about that, like go into that cancer ward and tell them your problems and like how embarrassed are you gonna feel to tell them
so
that.
I always go back to that Greg Plitt quote. Like I actually posted it on my feed like 2 weeks ago. And some fucking losers in the comments. Like, you don't have to think of that to be in a bad mood. Sometimes we can feel burnt out. I'm like, shut up. Losers. You just suck. You just suck. Like you're just lazy. You know, and that's just how it. Just say, instead of saying I'm allowed to feel burnt out, just say I'm just fucking lazy, bro.
Yeah, just admit it.
Just admit it. You know. So, and it's an uncomfortable one. Saying the word cancer. You know, talking about kids with their legs blown off. Super uncomfortable. Super uncomfortable. But you just gotta say these things to just talk some sense into yourself and to have a bit of perspective, and it's just real.
I think the world is just so, they just pity themselves so much. Like, see, people are like, it's the participation trophy kind of thing. I think thankfully we're coming away from it. Like we're seeing like, the world,
with Trump voted in,
Trump's
like,
back. We're back, baby. Like,
everyone's just like, he's like, shut up. You know? Pretty much.
You're fat.
Yeah, you're fat. You're gone. Holds up
his
his executive order, and then someone makes a meme out of it. Post something else.
No more fatties.
Yeah, exactly.
Sub 20% body fat only.
So good.
Like, but too many people, and it still is in the world. Like, you know, you say something around somebody and you can feel them like getting offended by it. And like, I think luckily we live in a part of the world where we don't have that much. Like Spain's pretty based.
Especially Marbella. There's no protests here.
No, there's not.
Everyone's just like, I need to work or I have to go home. I need to make money to support this lifestyle, or I'm, it's back to Slovenia or wherever. Everyone is very very hardworking here, very entrepreneurial, very based, down to earth, no woke bullshit. Like, you don't see people going around with like blue hair and nose rings. Typical shit. Sorry for any sound people with blue hair.
We don't have any of those people following.
Yeah, I know. I guess that you don't see any of that shit here in Marbella. So yeah, it's a good place to be.
Yeah, I think that falls into in order to have like a life that you enjoy, like you have to really try to design it the way you want, like living in the right place with people that have your mindset. And I'm not saying being an echo chamber, like there are instances where you should get out of your echo chamber, because if you're inside, a place where people only think like you and you're kind of stuck in a spot, you need to get into a different room and like experience different viewpoints. But in terms of like your general happiness, like you got to be in the place that like is like you the most, right? Like these blue hair people, they're probably, well, I don't know if they're happy, but they might, be more happy living amongst their own kind. You know what I mean? Where they all think the same and they can all agree and they feel like the world is with them. And we feel like the world's with us because we live in like the bubbles that we do.
Yeah.
But it's so important to set up your life in that way where you have the option to do that. Yeah. If you haven't set up your life in a way where, and this is the one thing that I wanted to do before I was like ever making money online. I remember I did like a few weeks trip when I was like 19, like my first or second year of uni, went to Thailand, the typical backpacker thing, right?
Same.
And I was just, at that point I was like, all right, I'm doing the uni thing. I'm going to get the degree. I'm going to become like an engineer. I'm going to work, get a decent salary, whatever. And I was in Thailand and I was chatting to these guys in the hostel and I was like, they were like English, I think. And I was like, so, when are you guys going home? I was like, oh, no plans yet. I'm like, well, how long have you been traveling? I was like, it's been like 3 months. I'm like, bro, how do you do this? Are you like rich parents? I was like, no, like we're digital nomads, bro. Like we like work online. I'm like, you can do that? Like you can work online? And I thought these guys were like the best, right? And then later I found out they were making like $10 a day doing like online surveys.
Nice.
But that's enough to survive.
In the trenches.
They were really in
the trenches, in the online survey.
They were in the jungles, bro. They were in the jungles.
Yeah, literally.
Like, but that was, back then, like I think hostels were like $5 a day. Like your food was like a pound. You know what I mean? Like a euro, like
5 meals a day.
Literally, they were getting
then you walk on the beach. You're pretty happy with that.
But at that, and then that like opened my mind, and I was like, okay, like this is a thing. You can actually like make money on the internet. And then I was driving. My second year of uni, I didn't want to take the student loan to do like the like halls, like live on the house in Belfast and whatever. So I was living at home with the parents. I had this old 1995 Ford Fiesta. It was like 400 quid. It was like terrible. It was a rust bucket. And I would drive up to uni back and forth every day. Because the traffic was so bad, it would be literally a 30-minute drive would take 2 hours.
Oh,
because it's just the motorway. So obviously I was cranking podcasts. I was cranking audiobooks. And I started listening more and more to like this stuff about online money and like designing your life and like figuring it out. And like for the next then 2 years, like my goal was, I'm leaving uni not needing to do the thing that I'm studying for, and thankfully I was successful with that. I was able to get, before I finished uni, I actually already had a successful agency that was like making like decent money, and I could then figure it out from there. But that was like the goal. I needed to like design life the right way, figure out, and the location freedom was the number one thing that I wanted.
The most important thing.
Then it was time freedom. Like the money was maybe, let me think, like location was number one, time was number two. Money was maybe only my third consideration, maybe my fourth, you know what I mean? Like the lifestyle, like me, I think I'm more like you in that sense.
Yeah, you don't need that much to live like a sick lifestyle, especially here in Marbella. So many people are like, oh, how much does it cost to like live there month to month? If you want to like buy a 20 grand Magnum of champagne and now pool
couple grand probably.
Exactly. But if you want to just like go to the gym, swim in the sea, eat at nice brunches and stuff, rent is cheaper. It's way cheaper than Dublin for a sick place with a pool. I'd say like 6 grand, 5-6 grand, and that's living really nice.
That's living well.
Oh, that's living really nice.
Well.
Like don't think that's not the minimum.
Especially if you get apartment with a few of your boys, like you spend a few hundred a month on rent, maybe 600, 700, 800 a month each. You're living in a 3-bed, relatively nice. Like I was actually looking at new apartments there. Cancelada direction. I was actually thinking about breaking my lease and like moving further like Estepona direction, but you can get amazing 3-beds for like 2,500.
Yeah,
$2,000 for like a nice 2-bed, like modern new build. Like, and if you're living with one of your mates, €1,000 a month each. Maybe 900 a month each for rent. groceries like Mercadona's, Clutch.
As cheap as it gets.
80 euros a week, 90 euros a week.
I've ever gone. Like, it's cheaper than Lidl and Aldi.
Bro, like, I don't know what you spend, but I spend maybe like 80 a week, 90 a week.
Yeah, exactly. For me and Linda, it's like 150 a week, so it's 75 per person.
Cheap as hell. You got really good quality meat. That's your food sorted. Gym membership, 70 euros, 80 euros. If you go to the IO, you're going to get taken advantage of.
Not selling the IO here.
Don't cancel my membership.
Yeah, but it's, and like, so some of the best days that me and Linda have had was we'll just go down to the beach. Actually, the one beside Puerto Romano, it's our favorite.
That's the best.
Don't go into Puerto Romano if you want to save money. Favorite spot, but expensive. But see, you go down to that beach and you like we've gone down with like a cold bottle of wine, a few like little hamon sandwiches. Had a real just Spanish day. Just keep jumping in and out of the thing and spent like virtually a tenner. And that's the best day ever.
That's literally the best experiences, man.
That's perfect.
I'm telling you, the best experiences I've ever had is like when you're traveling, you're with a couple of your mates, and you do like the cheap thing that's like accessible. Like you sit on a wall overlooking like a nice river, and you got some beers, or you have like a bit of food there, and it's just summertime.
And you don't feel like when you have a great day for a great price, you're like, oh, win. And let's say you spent like thousands at a pool club. Even if you have a good day, you're like, check your bank account the next day. You're like, oh shit.
I've done like the bottles, maybe 4 times in my life, 5 times, something like that. I never feel good about it after. I'm like,
me neither.
That was a way. I always think from their perspective, like they're taking advantage of me so much. Like, I've gone to like really nice hotels in the past where, a cappuccino is 20 quid. And I'm like, of course I can't afford 20 quid, but it's a cappuccino. And I'm like, I feel so dirty buying it. But, sometimes you gotta ball out a little bit on some 20 euro cappuccinos. But Marbella, I think if you are like really trying to do it on a budget, I think the absolute cheapest you could probably do Marbella. And if you live outside Marbella, like in one of the fringe areas, get rent for maybe 1,000 a month if you're in a small place, if you're trying to push it. If you're not trying to eat super high protein, 50 quid a week, maybe groceries, like
meat and eggs.
Meat and eggs, like you're spending 1,200, 1,300 a month. And for some people, they're like, oh my God, that's insane. But I think if you're trying to live in a top destination, like if you make a list of top places to live in each continent, America, you got Miami, New York, like I don't even know, rent there is like minimum 3.5K a month. Minimum, you know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like you're not living in a top destination in America for 1,500, 1,600 a month minimum. You know what I mean? And I know a guy, I don't even know where he's from in America, but he's from one of these rich places. And he was asking me, I'm sure you get asked every day, where should I go in Marbella? Where should I rent places? Blah, blah, blah. And he was asking me that. And I was like, check this, website, Idealista for like villas or whatever, right? He sent me a link and he was like, I can't fucking believe this. He was like, 10K and I get this insanity villa, insane villa for 10K a month. And I'm like, well, yeah. And then he's like, bro, you can't get nothing like that in Miami, for example. It's not even close.
Miami's the most expensive place I've ever been to.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I went when I was broke. I went when I was like 20 years old. Like I went for spring break, actually, like Ultra Festival.
No way.
Yeah, but it was literally like 7 Irish lads in a 2-bed flat. Like it was smelly.
I went for my honeymoon like 3 months ago.
Yep.
And we obviously found out Linda was pregnant halfway during it. So I was like, oh well, fun's over. Yeah. That's it. But yeah, we stayed in like Fontainebleau, really nice spot, and it's on like mid beach, South Beach, and it's unreal. You can ball out or you can do spring break.
I want to end off with a couple quick questions. Top 5 goats of the fitness world.
Greg Plitt, Z's, Steve Cook, Christian Guzman, and Hodge twins.
Hodge, bro, what was their thing?
They're the first guys I ever watched. You can do whatever the
fuck you want to do.
Like the fact that we remember that now,
and he kept
12 years on, they're so funny. And now they're political commentators. Pretty bang on with most stuff.
Bro, they were my favorite guys.
That's a great question.
They were my favorite guys. Top 5 spots in Marbella.
Oh, okay. Spots?
Whatever you think that's going to be.
Oh, bro. Okay. Puente Romano. Chiringuito.
Yep.
Playa Padre. Tamagotchi.
Shout out.
It's honestly, I love it. It's my favorite sushi, the local. Let's see. Oh my God, there's so many. I'm just like, I'm freaking out.
You got two more.
Mamselle.
Yep.
And La Plage Castanis.
Castanis, you want to go tomorrow night?
Yeah, let's go. Let's go.
Get you a mocktail.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I'm not pregnant. I'm just trying to stay off it.
Stranded on a desert island, 5 exercises.
Oh, 5 Okay, so loads of people answer this one and they name them like randomly, but you need to think logically. So your body can only do so much. Okay, it can do horizontal push, horizontal pull, vertical push, and vertical pull, like you're lifting something up. So horizontal push, bench press, row, shoulder press, deadlift. Now let's work the legs, squat.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's 5.
That's it. You will train virtually everything.
You need 1 squat rack on your desert island, and you're good to go.
That's it. Not even just clean and snatch that thing up on your shoulders.
All right, man. Appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I think it was a good one,
bro. Absolute pleasure. Put it there. Smash. No, honestly, great questions, and really enjoyed the chat as always, bro.
It was great.